It's another exciting episode on one-on-one show with Dr. Paakwesi, the African philosopher, as we unlock and decode the secrets in the universe through astrology. On today's episode, we are treating planetary system. My name is Jennifer Yaira, and I'm here with Dr. Paakwesi, the African philosopher, as he answers questions on the planetary system. Today, I'll use this opportunity to appreciate those commenting, liking, and sharing our post. Continue liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to this channel. Going straight to Dr. Paakwesi, I'll say a very big welcome to him. And he's looking so stunning today. Hello.
Hello.
You're welcome.
Jennifer, thank you.
You're looking amazing.
Wow, and you are also looking resplendent.
Thank you very much. Today we are treating planetary system. I've heard about its planetary system, and on some videos in your teachings, you were like planets giving colors, planets working in us. So in general, let's talk about the planetary system in general. What is planetary system?
Okay. When you hear about the word planetary system, you must know what a planet is. The word planet was coined from the Greek word planetary.
Okay.
Planetei, planetary, which means wandering stars. We have the 12 constellations. Each of these constellations contain billions of stars in them. And they are also known as stars. But these stars are known as fixed stars. The planets are known as wandering stars. The planets are walking or running or moving or are in constant motion through these distant planets and stars. In reality, they are not nearer to one another. Looking at the position we stand on Earth, looking at space, we see a one-dimensional image of the planets and the stars. It is as if the planets and the distant stars, or the wandering stars and the fixed stars, are in parallel position. No, that is what we call geocentric position. You are here on Earth, geocentric position.
Okay.
And when we talk of heliocentric position, those astronomers that are surveying through space and time with their spacecraft can clearly see that these planets are not nearer to the 12 constellations. So they can clearly tell you the heliocentric positions of the wandering stars and the fixed stars. But we standing on it will not see this reality, but one-dimensional image or panoramic view of space will make us see it as if they are in parallel positions.
Okay.
So the wandering stars are planets. The constellations you see, distant stars from us, are fixed stars.
Okay.
What do the planets do? When we say system explains clearly one group, a group of people or a group of things. When we talk of proportion is one part of the group different from the rest. The planets have different natures.
Okay.
They have different diameters. They have different revolutionary stuff.
Okay.
But in astrology, all these planets have their different natures, which we use to describe our very characteristics and our attitudes in our world. When you put all of them together, they are interdependent.
Okay.
Mars depends on Jupiter. Jupiter depends on Saturn. Saturn depends on, they depend on one another.
Okay.
So the exchange of energy among the planets is known as the interplanetary system.
Okay.
So a system is a group. We are made up of subatomic particles. Then it comes down to atomic particles.
Okay.
Come to molecules. They come to compound. We come to tissues.
Okay.
We come to the system. When the tissues come, you move on to the organs. When all the organs are working together, we call you a system. So when we talk of, for example, the solar system, solar is the sun, and all the planets are dependent on the sun.
Okay.
All the planets are connected to the sun. We get life from the sun because we depend on the sun. So it is known as a system. Your heart cannot work alone without the nostrils, because when you respire air or inspire air, it passes through your lungs and it goes straight to your heart. Without your nostrils, the heart cannot work well. Without the kidney, the heart cannot work well.
Okay.
The liver without the heart is impossible.
Okay, so they are dependent on each other.
Thank you. So we call it body system.
Okay. Okay.
So when we talk of planetary system,
Okay.
interdependency of the planet among one another.
Okay. So how many planets do we have? Because in some books they said 100 and something, some said 10, and some too said 7. How many planets do we have at all?
The planets are uncountable. Each star you see in space is a sun
Okay.
itself. It has some number of planets encircling it.
Okay.
As you can see, there are billions and trillions of incalculable stars in our world. And if each star is a sun on its own, with some planets going round it, it means that the planets cannot be counted.
Okay.
There are billions and billions and trillions of them.
Okay. But do we have major planets or something?
That is when we come down to Earth.
Okay.
We talk of solar system.
Okay.
In our group, solar system, we are all family. The planets that are working in our solar system are 15 in number,
Okay.
including the planetoids. Planetoids means that dwarf planets, small planets that are not considered as bigger planets, like how the International Astronomical Unit omitted planet Pluto from the 9 planets, making the rest 8. We have another planet known as Ceres. Ceres is found in between planet Mars and Jupiter. It is moving with these giant rocks known as the asteroid belt. And Ceres is the goddess of agriculture. Ceres, the goddess of agriculture. In astrology, ancient astrology, Ceres was said to be the ruler of constellation Virgo. But during the Babylonian times and the Akkadian times, they discovered 7 planets.
Okay.
Because they didn't have the modern technology or technology equipment to see in these distant planets in addition to the existing 7.
Okay.
The sun was part and parcel of the 7. So Sun, Venus, Mercury, Moon, Saturn, Jupiter,
Okay.
and Mars.
Okay. So we are dwelling just on the 7 planets for now.
I'm talking from the perspective of the Babylonians.
Okay.
When we come to the Greeks,
Okay.
the Greeks use the 9 planetary system. Sun,
My very eyes, or
Venus.
that, not that one.
No. Sun, Venus, Mercury, Moon, Saturn, Jupiter,
Okay.
Mars, Uranus, and Neptune.
I got just 8.
They are 9 in number. Sun, 1.
Okay.
Venus, 2. Mercury, 3.
Okay.
Moon, 4. Then we come to Saturn,
Okay.
5. Then we come to Jupiter, 6. Mars, 7. Uranus, 8. Neptune, 9.
Okay, 9.
The Greeks used the 9 planetary system.
Okay.
But when you come to my astrology, I use 10 planets.
Okay.
I include Pluto, the planet, the International Astronomical Unit, removed from the rest of the planets, considering it planetoid.
The sun doesn't exist.
It exists. Then how were they able to discover it and name it? Pluto is the god of the underworld.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Most of the Titans, these inhabitants of planet Saturn,
Okay.
we had Cyclops, those with one eye.
Okay.
They were giants, 156 feet in height.
Okay.
They came from planet Pluto. The ruler of the moon, known as Luna. His mother is known as Gaga.
Okay.
Gaga came from the planet Pluto. So the ruler of the moon comes from planet Pluto.
Okay.
There's been quite a number of phenomena or happenings that is dated back to 600 billion years ago. These forces existed in our solar system and then they operated perfectly. We are not going to talk about how star wars or intergalactic wars occurred, but we are talking about the types of planets we use in astrology.
Okay.
When you come to mine, I have even gone further by using planetoid Humia. We have Makemake. Yes. Makemake.
Makemake.
Makemake is there. And we have Humia, Humea.
Okay.
They are all planetoids. We call them trans-Neptunian objects because they have lined up behind planet Pluto.
Okay.
And those areas are very cold.
Okay.
I also have carefully studied how the moons of each of these planets work. If planet Jupiter is having effect on it, planet Jupiter has 63 moons. Planet Uranus has 13 rings. And yes,
63 moons in...
having 13 rings surrounding it.
And you mentioned 63 moons.
63 moons. Each of these moons have its own influence. So I'm not just looking at the bigger planet itself,
Okay.
as it's been fully considered officially in astrology to be working, but most astrologers don't know how its moons have influence on our planet. The moons have influence on that planet, and that planet has influence on us.
Okay.
So planet Saturn has many attributes, and its attributes or characteristics or properties are fully identified or empowered or quickened by its moons around it.
Okay. So let's come to the characteristics or properties of each planet, the 10 planets you are working with. So in your study, which one is the first one? Is it still the sun?
The sun is the primus inter pares.
Okay.
The sun is the first in all,
Okay.
the light of the world, the beginner, the one.
Okay.
When you go to the tarot, major arcana card, from planet Uranus, represented by the Fool, the number 1 or the first card,
Okay.
we classify it as planet Mercury, but in Babylonian occult numerology, it represents the sun.
Okay.
So the sun is always the first.
The first.
I have not talked about its arrangement in order according to how the 7 heavens have been arranged.
Okay.
I'm just talking about its various number values
Okay.
in relation to the question you asked.
Okay.
So the sun is the first.
Okay.
Then we come to the moon.
Okay.
We come to Mars.
Okay.
We come to Jupiter.
Okay.
We come to Saturn. Blah, 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 blah.
To number 10.
To number 10. So the sun is the first.
Okay.
The moon is the second.
Second.
Jupiter is the third.
Okay.
Uranus is the fourth. Mercury is the fifth.
Okay.
Venus is the sixth. Neptune is the seventh. The eighth is Saturn.
Okay.
9 is Mars.
Okay.
Yes. And the 10th one is Pluto.
Pluto. Okay, so let's come to its characteristics or properties, one after the other. The sun.
The sun.
The sun.
Before I answer your question,
Okay.
let me make this clear. We have a principle or a law working in our world known as the principle of duality. It is part of the 7 Hermetic principles which the triple great personality who once descended on it, known as Hermes Trismegistus, described that the universe is dual. Everything is dual in the universe.
Yes.
So, every planet play 2 roles.
Oh, okay. That's good and bad.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
No, that's not solely good and bad.
Okay.
Within good, there's good and bad. Within bad, there's good and bad.
Oh, how?
I will explain, don't worry.
Okay.
So we have, it means that the duality principle means that each planet play 2 roles.
Okay.
We have the singular role and the plural role. If I talk of singularity, I simply mean that each planet represents a personality, and each planet also represents the external force that is working on the personality.
Okay.
So if this marker is the sun, it divides itself into 2.
Okay.
And then one will work upon the other.
The other
So
one.
we have Sun A, personality, Sun B, faith.
Okay.
This is why in astrology.
So faith working on the personality.
Thank you.
Okay.
So in astrology, we have the signs of the zodiac.
Okay.
Each sign represents the human constitution. If a certain planet stands in a certain sign of the zodiac,
Okay.
it plays a personality role.
Okay.
Personality role. What is personality? Personality, I will come to the esoteric aspect.
Okay.
Personality means that your physical body, your etheric, your astral, your mental and spiritual, the things that you exhibit, everyone knows about you. He speaks faster. He walks slowly.
Okay.
This person is tall. This person is short. This person is greedy. This person is talented, wise, or a fool. These things are the personality. They make up the personality. So everyone around you will see it.
Okay.
The same planet and the sign standing at a certain point or position, which in astrology we call a house. That planet is no longer a personality. It is known as a compound planet, working as a force from the outside world towards the person. He, the sun, projects his image within.
Okay. That's the faith.
The fate.
Okay.
F-A-T-E, fate. So every planet plays 2 roles.
Okay.
One on the side of the signs of the zodiac. The same planet playing another role in the signs of the houses, or the houses of the zodiac, sorry. So the planet stands in the house of the zodiac playing the role, a role from the outside world, the macrocosm. The same planet is in a sign playing a personality role, that is microcosm. So macro and micro.
Micro. Okay. I think it's understood. So let's come to the characteristics of each. The sign after we go to the planets having colors and all that.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about the sun or the rest of the planet on the personality side.
Okay.
Regardless of its role in the macrocosm.
Okay.
The sun is the first in all. The sun is creative. The sun is inventive.
Okay.
The sun is stubborn. The sun is proud. The sun hates to fail. Yes. The sun has honor.
Okay.
The sun has faith.
Okay.
F-A-I-T-H. The sun has self-confidence.
Okay.
Simple characteristics.
Self-confidence, faith,
Honor.
and
Hating to fail.
hating to fail. Yes, exactly.
Proud.
Confident.
Confident.
Okay.
Proud.
Proud.
Yes.
Okay.
and very ambitious.
Ambitious.
And the sun is obstinate, stubborn.
Okay.
Nature, creative and inventive.
Okay.
Simply the characteristics of the sun.
Of the sun. That's the number
There's more,
one.
yes. But I will just
ETC.
ETC.
Thank you.
We come to the moon.
The moon.
The moon is gentle.
Okay.
The moon is highly imaginative. Something what is highly imaginative is called a romantic thing.
Okay. Romantic.
Romantic, yes.
Okay.
It is not sexual romance. It's about the visualization state.
I said nothing.
Or the imaginative quality of the subject in question. Yes. The moon is melancholic, something that becomes easily bored. The moon is restless.
Okay.
The moon lacks self-confidence
Okay.
and continuity. These are the characteristics of the moon.
Okay.
The moon is the chief ruler of the law of duality. Yes.
Chief ruler
Of the law of duality.
Okay.
Everywhere you see the moon is dual, also dual in nature.
Okay.
It is the main supervisor, the governor of the law
Of duality. Okay.
That is why its number is 2.
Okay.
2 means dual.
Okay. So it's highly imaginative.
Highly imaginative.
It's gentle.
Gentle by nature.
Then ETC.
ETC.
Okay.
We have the planet Jupiter.
Okay.
Jupiter is commanding, controlling. Jupiter is ambitious.
Oh, okay. Just like the sun. Okay.
And tactless. Jupiter is conscientious.
Okay.
Jupiter is a warrior, fighting on behalf of those that are fully oppressed by others.
Okay.
Jupiter is religious. Jupiter is inquisitive. Jupiter has strong memory,
Okay.
the power of communication
Okay.
are attributed to Jupiter.
Okay. Strong memory, ambitious,
Strong memory, ambitious, conscientious,
and ETC.
tactless. Yes, ETC.
Okay.
We come to Uranus.
Uranus.
Uranus is unconventional. Uranus has its own rules and regulations
Okay.
and fully brush off existing rules and regulations wherever it is found.
Okay.
Let's say ruled by the planet Uranus.
Okay.
If I work in this organization, the laws, the bylaws operating in this place is despised intuitively and instinctively by me. I hate to follow someone's rules and regulations. I want to establish my own
Okay.
and reverse the order of the bylaws I have come to find in a certain institution or this institution.
Okay.
Uranus is truthful
Okay.
but can be manipulated easily.
Okay.
Uranus can be easily made a fool out of. They are intellectuals, creative as well. When we talk of the world's inventors, they are ruled by the planet Uranus.
But then they can be made a fool out of. That means they are shallow-minded, or?
They are not shallow-minded.
Okay.
They give all their heart,
Okay.
whatever they do. In the end, people make a fool out of them.
Okay.
That is why in the tarot, the first card is 0. It's known as the Fool. And it is ruled by the planet Uranus.
Okay.
And they are also authoritative.
Okay.
by
The
nature.
Uranus.
Uranus easily become wounded in his feelings. They also suffer melancholia.
Okay.
ETC.
ETC.
Let's come to Mercury,
Mercury. That's the fifth one.
the fifth one.
Okay.
Mercury is friendly than all the planets. They make friends easily. Among all the planets, Mercury makes friends easily. At the same time, Mercury is, let me use this word, nervous by nature. They live on their nerves and they crave excitement naturally.
Oh.
So if you meet somebody who is mercurial, they like to go out with them. Among all the planets, Mercurials love money than all. So where you see Mercury, money.
There's money there.
And then they are unreliable and cunning by nature.
Okay.
They are very eloquent. With communication, they are good. So if you conceive a child, a son or a daughter who is ruled by Mercury, they like to talk. Like children, those that were born in the year 2021.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Mercury.
So is it the year of Mercury or something?
Yes, known as the year of Mercury.
Year of Mercury.
Numerologically.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Year of Mercury.
Year of Mercury.
Okay.
So Mercurials like to talk. They are quick-tempered, like Jupiterians, etc.
But then they are friendly too.
They are friendly, but they are very quick-tempered.
Oh, okay.
And they never rest. They hate to stay at one place. If you try to challenge them by, let me draw these premises, by walking a long distance, visiting people, if you follow a Mercurial, you will die and he will still be roaming about. So Mercurials wander, W-A-N-D-E-R, naturally in their world of life.
Okay.
They love money, they take risk, but what disturbs them is foolhardiness.
What?
Or DNABC, what will happen? Nothing will happen.
Oh, okay.
He will go and then he will meet his meter.
So they are friendly.
They are friendly.
They wander.
Okay. Quick-tempered.
Quick-tempered.
They are very, very communicative or eloquent.
Eloquent.
By nature.
Then etc.
Yes,
That's the fifth one.
The fifth one.
Okay.
The sixth one is Venus.
Okay.
Venusians love colors.
Wow.
They become slaves to those they love. They love paintings.
Oh, okay.
They love literature. Things that are pertained to culture. They love lawns. Wherever you see flowers, forests, the vegetation,
Okay.
they are in sympathy with those that are Venusians.
Okay.
Venus also have motherly love. Only when it is not forming an angle of 90 degrees square or opposition 180 degrees with another planet, evil planet, rendering it, leaning his animal nature more on its love life than the motherly love.
Okay.
So they become flirtatious by nature. They have this voluptuous talent, the ability, by attracting members of the opposite sex. Venusians are music lovers. That is why Taurians and then Librans naturally are stick to music. Mm-hmm. Yes. Venusians normally receive gifts, monies, and favors from members of the opposite sex.
Okay.
And Venus is the most magnetic of all the planets.
Okay.
They attract easily.
Okay, but a quick question from here. Do we have planets ruling the signs, like constant planets or maybe permanent planets ruling each sign?
Yes, we have them.
Okay.
They are known as the significators,
okay.
the rulers, the governors, the
okay.
kings or the queens
okay.
of the signs of the zodiac. We will come there.
Okay.
I'm only describing the...
Just by the way, though.
Yes, the singular natures of the planet.
Venus.
So Venus, ETC. Let's come to...
the seventh one.
The seventh one. The seventh one is Neptune.
Okay.
Neptunian. Planet Neptune is highly intuitive than all the planets. They have the power of observation, drawing rational conclusions from the things that they see
okay.
or observe in their world of life. Neptunians easily become bored when they find themselves in environment they abhor or dislike so much. But when they find themselves in certain environment that appeal to their preferences, they become workaholics. They work to plethora. They are the restless. Although the moon is restless, Neptune is restless. Another planet. Neptune rules the sea.
Oh, okay.
So the god of the sea in Greek mythology is known as Neptunus. Neptunus. Greek and Roman mythology says Neptunus, the king of the sea, rules water. The waves on the sea never rest.
Yes.
So, the souls that are ruled by this planet,
Neptune.
they never rest. They create religions on their own because they dislike to follow the beaten track.
Okay.
Women that are ruled by Neptune have great fear in their hearts to enter into sexual relationships because they believe that they need a reliable shoulder to rest on, lest the waters of fate washes them away.
Okay, that's the Neptunes.
Neptunians.
Okay.
So Neptunians are they are philanthropic by nature.
Okay.
Whatever they have, they share with the world. So he or she will work tirelessly to get some proceeds from his or her work. In the end, the person ends up feeding other people with what he attained out of his toil. They share with others.
And then that's great.
But when it forms a square or opposition with a certain planet,
Okay.
yes, they become tricksters.
Okay.
They will use a very clever means to get whatever thing they want from you, and they brush you off.
Square and opposition.
Square or opposition.
Square or opposition. Oh, okay.
Without this, its raw nature is imagination.
Okay.
It's dreaming. Neptunians have more dreams than the rest of the planets. So I call it the spiritual planet, and it rules in constellation Pisces.
Okay. So that's the seventh one.
The seventh one. The eighth one is Saturn.
Okay.
The father of all the planets. The oldest of all the planets is planet Saturn. Saturn, a Saturnine is highly misunderstood by other people. If somebody is born under the influence of Saturn, they are highly misunderstood by others. I talk of misunderstanding because if it forms 60 degrees or 120 degrees, that is trine or sextile with a certain planet, he or she will be misunderstood in the way he or she does her things to the positive aspect. Like myself, the way I go about studying the laws and practically converting them into rational stuff, everyone will understand them at the end of the day, but no one understands how I get to do these things. So I'm highly misunderstood, but in this respect. Negative aspect makes someone who is contemplative. Positivity surrounding the environment they are. But they come with something different that will bring destruction around the place. So people misunderstand them. So this planet represents misunderstanding.
Okay. Misunderstanding in general.
General.
Okay.
2, it represents self-sacrifice.
Okay.
In our world, those that sacrifice their lives to the world are Saturnines.
Okay.
I am a Saturnine.
Okay.
You can see Papa is a Saturnine. In numerology, 8, 17, 26 are the numbers of Saturn, number values of the planet Saturn.
Okay.
So they are called instruments of fate for other people, where they must sacrifice their lives for their families and those that live outside the arenas of their families.
Sacrificial slams.
It represents advice.
Oh, okay.
When a square or opposition is seen in one's astral chart or natal chart, it represents bad advice given to the person. Saturn represents unions. It represents associations. It represents groups, fraternities, etc., etc., etc.
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 Okay.
Saturn is a very powerful planet, but there's something that is known as pessimism, focusing more on the negative aspect of one's life than the positive. Saturn, it also represents mental and emotional tension.
Okay.
It represents budgeting. How to set and budget what you do. It represents stinginess. The stinginess, yes, Saturn. The stinginess comes more when a square or opposition is formed in one's astral chart.
Okay.
But when you see sextile or trine at 60 degrees or 120 degrees, of any planet in relation or in aspect with Saturn, the person will become stingy, but to save other lives, not to misuse the resources he has. Just like that.
Okay.
We have etc. etc. We have Mars.
Mars, that's the 9th one.
Mars represents courage.
Okay.
Mars represents brute force. So it represents force.
Okay.
It represents command. It represents authority.
Command and authority.
It represents power.
Okay.
So in ancient Babylonian occultism, it represents the scepter,
Okay.
Akofina.
Okay.
The scepter is a symbol of power. Those that are born under Mars are naturally resourceful, and they can use they put resources into effective use. But it represents lack of tolerance on their side. Those that brook no opposition in their plans, when they make up their minds, they hate anyone to challenge what they have decided, good or bad. Fail to give power to a Martian, and then he is likely to withdraw himself from where he wasn't given the power. A Martian in a group wants to become the master and then shadow his power over the people, the group he joins, or he is within. If he or she is opposed, he becomes wounded. He or she becomes wounded. Stand aside and watch things go wrong or go into pieces. They don't care anymore. Once they have not been given the absolute power to pioneer or to lead.
So it's actually their prayer for things to go wrong.
Thank you.
Okay.
It represents quarrel.
Okay.
Quarreling with other people. Someone who has mass influence in his astral chart have constant quarrels.
Okay.
Etc.
ETC. And the 10th one?
The 10th one, Pluto.
Pluto.
Pluto represents sex. Pluto represents visions, dreams. Pluto also represents strong heart. It represents haughtiness, also pride. If the person must have done something wrong and you ask him or her to apologize, Pluto, he will not apologize.
That's their nature.
That's their nature.
Okay.
He or she will never apologize.
Okay.
Pluto represents lack of forgiveness.
Okay.
A Plutonian will never forgive you. It represents dreams and fantasies in our lives. Okay. It represents growth. It also represents losses that we encounter in our world. It represents loneliness from all. It represents endings and beginnings. It represents letting go of the past and moving on to the future.
Okay, letting go, sex, and ETC.
Thank you.
That's for Pluto.
That's for Pluto.
So in your teachings, I've been hearing square opposition. Kindly explain that square opposition.
Square opposition, I will explain it in another day.
Okay,
Today we are dealing with the planetary system.
So another time.
If you come to the aspect, you'll be lost.
Oh, okay.
It can never be fully treated.
Okay.
That is why you have never seen me in one of my videos talking fully on the aspects, because you have to talk about Sun in Aries, Sun in Taurus, Sun in Gemini, Sun in Cancer, Sun in Leo, Pisces. Then you come again. Sun in the first house, Sun in the second house, Sun in the third house, Sun in the fourth house to the 12th house. Then you come. Sun and Moon conjunction in the first house, in Aries. Sun and Moon conjunction in Taurus, Sun and Moon conjunction in Gemini, Sun to Pisces. Then you come again. Sun and Mars in Aries, Sun and Mars in Taurus, Sun and Mars in Gemini to Pisces. Come. Sun and Saturn in Aries, Sun and Saturn.
There's too much to understand. There's too much.
Sun and Mars in the first house, Sun and Mars in the second house. You come to three planetary conjunctions, whatever.
It's just too much. It's just too much. So the explanation you just did was draw on personality. So
Planet.
the
The nature of
personality
planet, yes.
planets on each
Each of the planets.
planets, right? Yes. So that one is personality. So let's move to the houses. Generally, so sun in the first house, just that one. Then moon in the second house, like according to how they are arranged. That's
Houses.
better. Yes, houses.
So we are talking about the influence of the macrocosm,
Yes,
planetary macrocosm, on
the
micro.
houses.
Okay. Give me. Let's start from where?
The first house,
Which planet?
sun
Sun.
in the first house.
Thank you. You are a bad guy. What to do? Okay. The sun itself, I made mention of pride,
Yes.
fame,
Yes.
honor,
Ambitious.
ambition,
Yes.
authority, recognition.
Okay.
It represents challenges.
Okay.
And it also represents being tenacious, that is, staying your ground and making your decision. This I will not do again. This I will not stop. If the sun is seen rising from the east, it is known as the sun in the first house. If it has not been squared with or formed any opposition with another planet in any house,
Okay.
it represents what is known as good partnerships, love from members of the opposite sex. It represents strong faith.
Okay.
It represents public honor. When a person is born in infancy, the birth of the person becomes popular and everyone knows that someone in this place or at this place has been born or conceived.
Oh, okay. So do we have people born under that sign? Maybe sun in the first house. People.
The first house represents whatever happened in our childhood.
Okay.
The conditions of our parents in the home,
Okay.
the conditions financially in the home,
Okay.
etc.
etc.
If somebody is born with the sun in the first house, it symbolizes one who receives much love from a woman, if the person is a male,
Okay.
from a man, when the person is a female. Jesus in the Bible is known as the Son. When Jesus was born, it represents fame in one's birth. The three wise men, King Herod, the other scribes, everyone heard of his birth. He attracted those people into his life. Immediately he was born. So, he represents the sun in the first house, representing good conditions in the home, honor and wealth of the father and the mother.
Okay.
It represents popularity. It also represents great recognition the person receives
Okay.
when the person was born or the person was an infant.
Okay. So solely infancy
In the first house.
in the first house. It's solely infancy.
Infancy.
Okay.
So there are some number of characteristics or descriptions I can give. Let's take this one because of time. The moon in the second house. The moon is, the second house represents our wealth,
Okay.
material wealth, things that we can carry along. The laptop, the marker,
The mobile phones.
mobile phone, my table, the dress I have worn.
Can you carry the table?
The table, yes, I can carry the table. So it is a movable object.
Okay.
It represents your attire, your wig, your shoes, whatever. They're all ruled by Taurus, the second house. The moon, when it is found in the second house, working from that world, it represents promise and fail.
Okay.
That surrounds the person's personal belongings. For example, one sleeps. By the time the person wakes up, all his things are being stolen. When the moon squares or forms opposition with Venus, someone of a woman nature, like a woman, if I am a man and my moon is in the second house, someone like a woman will come into my life due to some simple disagreement, I go to work. By the time I return, everything in my room is gone with the woman herself. So it represents pain. It represents disappointment.
Okay.
In acquiring wealth, it brings about opportunities. Opportunities attached to delays and hindrances. The person gets money, but compassion makes this wealth or the little he or she must have acquired go away. The person becomes a spendthrift, spending on other people, women, people that are poor and needy, or coming from the outside world. It represents lands. Having bought the land, it becomes a waterlogged area when the moon is found in the second house.
Okay.
Simple. There are plenty of them.
Okay.
Let me put it aside. Jupiter in the third house.
house.
Jupiter in the third house represents late marriage. It brings about loneliness from the outside world. The third house represents siblings.
Okay.
It represents our neighbors.
Okay.
Short journeys. The house of communication and communication devices like phone, like laptops, like graphics, everything. If Jupiter is found over there, it brings about friendships or having neighbors that are religious by nature with power and authority. It also stands for a sibling. One of the siblings of the person becomes a religious authority, and one of the siblings of the person will travel to the foreign land if it is seen over there.
Okay, so can we have people being born under, let's say, Jupiter in the third house? Do we have people born under those signs?
Yes, like me. I was born with Jupiter in the third house.
Okay, so you can't give, like, from this date to this date, they are born under Jupiter in the third house or something. Can't you just...
No.
It's not like that.
The planets wander.
Okay.
They change.
Yes.
Someone can be born, for example, 2023 with Jupiter in the third house. In 2028 or 2024, Jupiter will not be at the same house
again.
In the same house again.
Okay.
With the same sign.
Okay.
Jupiter has a revolution of 12 years, which means that it spends a year in each of the signs of the zodiac.
Ooh.
So if Jupiter entered into Aries in 2021,
okay,
in 2022, it will not be found in Aries. It will be found in Taurus. It will use a year, 365 days to cross the whole of Aries, 365 days to cross the whole of Taurus.
Okay.
Yes.
Saturn
is different.
Fixed days.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
With Saturn spends 30 years or 29 and a half years in each sign before it moves to the next.
30 years.
Venus spends 26 days in each sign before it moves to the next.
Okay.
Mars spends 40 days in each sign before it crosses to the next.
It's because they are big or
Pluto,
chubby.
yes, Pluto spends 40 years in each sign before it crosses to the next.
Okay.
So
it's because they are chubby or big. That's why they come cross fast. Okay, so Jupiter in the third house, we're still there.
Jupiter in the third house.
Yes.
So Jupiter in the third house brings about neighbors and symbols of religious nature. Let me give a generic.
Okay.
Religious nature. In pursuit of spiritual enlightenment, people come from the outside world with those natures, where they communicate with such devices, communicating with superiors, those of religious nature, through phone, communicating with a sibling who is very religious by nature, and then communicating through phone. The communication encircles something that has to do with spirituality. That will be the topic of discussion between the subject and the person who plays a very major role from the macrocosm.
The master. Okay.
Uranus in the fourth house.
Fourth house.
Uranus in the fourth house brings about loss of property if it squares an angle of 90 degrees with Mars or Saturn. When it forms 60 degrees or 120 degrees with another planet, it brings about sudden change. Sudden change. The fourth house represents agriculture. It represents mining. It represents building and construction.
Okay.
Anything that concerns the lands.
That has been built.
If Uranus is there and it is not afflicted, if I use the word not afflicted, it means that it's not in aspect with a very evil planet. But if it is not afflicted with good planets in the fourth house, it represents sudden change of the person's life, making properties. You can see the person very poor, but later the person gets an opportunity that will expand his property base.
Uranus in the fourth house.
Uranus in the
not
fourth
squaring
house.
anything.
Yes.
Okay.
It also represents someone who attracts, whose mother is rebellious by nature, whose mother is a fault finder naturally by nature.
Okay.
Yes, the fourth house represents our mothers and it represents our old age as well. It means that if it is not afflicted, it brings about sudden change of fortune of the person in his old age.
This is too much.
Too much. And if Uranus is in a sign with all the planets I've mentioned, if they are in, they change.
Oh, okay.
So Aries, for example, Aries, the sun in Aries in the first house is different. The sun in Aries, when it draws to the 12th house, is different.
It's different.
Sun in Aries in the 11th house is different. Sun in Aries in the 10th house is different.
It's different. Okay, so this one we are just making a
this one we are just making general.
Okay.
Let's come to Mercury.
Mercury in the fifth
Mercury
house.
in the fifth house. Mercury in the fifth house brings about tendencies of drinking.
Alcohol.
Alcoholism.
Okay.
When it forms, if it squares or opposes a certain planet like Mercury, Sun and Mercury forms opposition. It brings about drinking. The fifth house represents pleasure. It represents courtship.
Okay.
It represents dating. It represents children.
The fifth house.
Yes. It represents ties outside of marriage, adultery. So if Mercury is found over there, it represents someone who is flirtatious by nature. Yes, someone who courts with someone before he enters into marriage. With Mercury, it represents being greedy with money, making properties in early age, and then traveling from one particular place to another. When it's afflicted, it brings about constant change of sexual partners. And the person's life is characterized with fame of his or her marriage. Anything that happens goes outside, evil or good. It can never be hidden under the bed. It goes out.
But why is that so?
We will talk about that later.
Because this is too much. Like it's too much.
It brings about failure when it's afflicted because of the stupidity of other people or the foolhardiness of other people. Yes.
So in this instance, whether it forms opposition or a square, that one it happens like that. It's just general.
It's just general.
As you are explaining it.
As I'm explaining.
Wow.
So Mercury in the fifth house brings about children with great faculties.
Okay.
Children that have fame, power, recognition. Children that are highly imaginative and highly inventive by nature. It brings about children whom we form great bond with without any problem. Your son or daughter will love you so much that no one can separate you. So we have good children in our domestic setups.
That's good.
Yes. But when it is afflicted, one makes enemies with the children, or the person conceives not at all.
Wow.
Yes. I have done this general. Depending on which degree Mercury is.
Oh, so there's degree
specific.
too.
There are degrees. There are decans.
Okay.
But you cannot see decans in the houses.
Okay.
So when it is in a certain degree or point in space, its characteristics become different.
Different.
The relationship between the person and the children
becomes difference too.
Whether that child will become an enemy to the father through properties, or enemy to the father through his father trying to force the child into something he does not want.
Okay, so this is just general.
General.
And it's fine.
Then we come to
the sixth house.
The sixth house. So let me place Venus in the sixth house.
Venus in the sixth house.
Venus in the sixth house brings about jealousy and hatred from people like slaves. If the person is an employer,
okay,
and that planet is afflicted, Venus is afflicted, the person's servants will bring him down. His servant will not be truthful to him. The person will lack the ability of voluntarily sacrificing his life to others in the world. But when it is not afflicted, it brings about great love between a servant and a master.
okay,
If the person becomes a servant, his master is good. But when it is afflicted, his master becomes evil. Those are the employees you see in certain companies who work tirelessly to make sure that everything goes on by what he or she wrote in his CV or application letter.
to
But they are not being
satisfy.
paid. Yes, they are not being paid.
Okay,
One should approach the master, and then he receive some quantum of slaps or insult from him. Others too will have masters when the planet is not afflicted,
okay,
who make sure that they are not in dire need of anything in their lives.
okay,
Irrespective of the monthly salary they receive, there are other wages or tips, preferment and perks, motivation they receive from their superiors.
okay.
Uh,
So what
this
does the sixth house represent?
The sixth house is called the house of enemies.
Enemies.
The
okay.
house of voluntary work.
Okay,
The house of servant and the house of master.
okay,
The house of making huge properties that cannot be carried from one place to another, like mansions,
okay,
like slaves,
okay,
like agriculture.
okay.
If like large family, like accidents are found in the sixth house. So if Venus is afflicted over there, it represents accident of one's sexual partner.
Oh,
Yes.
this is sad.
It is sad. What do you do? There's nothing one can do about it. Okay, so let's go to the number
seventh house.
Neptune in the seventh house.
Yes.
Neptune in the seventh house brings about indecision.
Okay,
The seventh house represents partnerships or marriage. It represents our partnership with other people.
okay,
It is the house of Libra.
okay,
The seventh house is the house of fall or to rise.
okay,
If Neptune is seen in the seventh house, it brings about indecision of one's partners forming a partnership with someone.
okay,
This person is indecisive, which disturbs your peace in trying to blocking you from moving on tactfully with carrying out your dreams in this life. If Neptune is seen over there, it makes about one whose partner is a psychic, dreamy or intuitive by nature, whose visions or dreams can protect you from entering into any form of danger. It represents litigation. If Neptune is afflicted by another planet, it represents loss of property, loss of sexual partner, fulfillment of karma happens in the seventh house. If Cancer is seen in the seventh house with no planet in it, it brings about a very faithful, persevering, tolerant, humble and supportive spouse.
Let's quickly go to the eighth house.
8. Saturn in the 8th house.
Saturn in the eighth house.
Saturn in the 8th house brings about losses. Depending on which degree or which planet forms an angle of 90 degrees or 120 degrees with Saturn. If Mercury squares Saturn, or Mercury forms an opposition with Saturn, it brings about loss of huge money. But if Venus is afflicting Saturn, it brings about loss of property. If a woman should abscond with the person's money, it represents growth. If Saturn is seen over there and it is not afflicted, growth which comes to the person's life through a superior who is not too old but who is middle aged. The person's master is younger, like us, but we are not too old.
Okay. So let's come to the ninth house.
Ninth house. The ninth house, let's bring the planet Mars in the ninth house. If Mars is in the ninth house, it brings early success with cash, but it results in losing every property the person gets in life. If the planet is not afflicted, the person gets back whatever he lost.
Okay.
It also represents disagreement, war, quarrel from the place of worship. It brings about delays and hindrances or obstacles, accident on the foreign land.
Wow.
If it is afflicted, the person is warned not to travel to the foreign land or a farther place to live and thrive over there.
Wow, this is
Simple.
Interesting.
It's interesting.
10th house.
10th house. So bring Pluto in the 10th house.
Pluto in the 10th house.
Pluto in the 10th house or in the mid-heaven also brings about superiors. It brings fame. It brings power. But if Pluto is there and it is not afflicted, enemies will rise against the person. No matter what they do, honor will come upon the person whose Pluto is seen in the mid-heaven. If not, and it is afflicted, it brings public disgrace, defeat of the person's plans by superiors. This same point is the point of our career, promotion, our service to the public.
That's
as
the
well.
10th house.
Yes.
Okay.
If Pluto is seen over there, then the very nature of that planet will be public.
Okay.
If it is in one's career, it represents losses of one's career. But the career is appertaining to a public work, out of which the person comes into contact with a cunning personality, especially when it is afflicted. The person wouldn't benefit from anything. He or she will move on, persevering through life. And in the end, one becomes victorious.
Wow. 11th house. So which planets are we placing there?
We can start. Let's place the sun in 11th house.
Okay, the sun in 11th.
The sun in 11th house, if it is not afflicted by any planet, also brings about friends. The 11th house represents friendship, friends, well wishes, courage at the workplace. So if the sun is seen over there, it means that the person naturally attracts superiors, like kings, like queens, like higher personality people that befriend the person. So we have someone, he has the number of the Minister of Trade's number. He has the phone contact of, or the number contact of professors, public professors, etc. So the friends that will come into the person's life are those that are very popular and are well known by others. But if when it is afflicted, the friends will not be trustworthy. Especially if the sun is seen over there and afflicted. Such superiors I've mentioned will cause trouble to the person.
Okay, so moon in the 12th house.
Moon in the 12th. Moon in the 12th house brings about grief. The 12th house represents imprisonment. It also represents rejection. It represents self-undoing. It represents grief. It represents hidden enemies. When you look at the 6th house, it represents public enemies. You look at the 12th house, it represents hidden enemies. If the moon is seen over there, it brings about disappointment, unsettlement, grief. mental and emotional depression due to the fact that I'm talking about the affliction.
Yes.
The person is rejected by the society
Okay.
and is not allowed to carry out his ideas in a group and received. If a conjunction is formed, like if the moon squares Mars, Uranus, Neptune, and Saturn in the 12th house, it brings about being restricted and being limited from superiors.
Okay.
And these superiors will make sure that your dreams and aspirations are locked from their domain. Only if you apply your principles outside, you'll be prevented or denied access to making sure that whatever properties, good properties you have in your faculty,
Wow.
is not realized.
Wow. I would want us to continue this topic, but our time is fast spent. So on our next episode, we'll be treating planets ruling each of our body parts and stuff. Okay. So that's fine by you.
You're
but
welcome.
Our time is fast. Thank you very much for
You're
having
welcome.
me. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Guys, continue subscribing to our channels, liking, sharing, and commenting on our videos. My name is Jennifer Yaira, and I had Dr. Paakwesi answering all questions to the planetary system. On our next episode, we shall meet again. Thank you.